delegation, again, is just that entrusting the responsibility, but how we delegate is where it gets to be effective.
Buns, burgers, and big ideas, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of BX3. We have Hailey here with us today. Thanks for popping in the studio with us.
Thanks for having me. Big fan.
Glad big fan. Guys, there's an inside joke there. Those of you who know. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here, Hailey.
Of course.
Hailey is a part of the development team with me as well. So we'll have to have you back and talk about your new role.
Yeah.
But today I kind of thought we could talk about some LTC, some leadership transitions topics, because we just had a class.
We did. And we got one coming up.
And we do. We love churning them out. We love talking to our leaders of the restaurants, and kind of thought we could talk a little bit about what I know to be your favorite topic, delegation.
It is my favorite. And anybody that has attended an in-person class, you know how excited I get when we get to talk about delegation, because it's the hardest skill
it is
to acquire, in my opinion, as a leader, because we constantly find ways to say, I can't delegate this, or it's just better if I do it, or whatever the reason may be for that task, that moment, that day, we just do. And it's such an important thing for us to do as a leader, is delegate.
Well, and we'll get into it a little bit more in a second, but delegation is just a great way to motivate your team as well. There's anything that we teach or anything that we talk about in LT has multiple reasons to it. It's never like the surface level with developing ourselves as leaders.
Right.
And that goes for me and you as well. It's not just, you got to delegate. Like,
right.
If you delegate, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to get better. This is like, there's multiple reasons. And so I'm excited to talk about delegation with you. What are some other topics that we talk about during LT?
Well, I mean, honestly, we kick it off with like our building blocks, and we say, what are the characteristics of an ideal shift leader? And then we spend so much time talking to our new leaders, and most recently some of our more seasoned leaders, right? But they tell us all of these characteristics that make a great leader. And it's, well, you have to be knowledgeable, you have to be respected, you have to have all this trust and
follow through,
right? These things you can coach your teams. And how do we do that if we don't delegate? We can't. We don't have those coaching moments, because if we're doing everything ourselves, then how does anybody else learn?
I really do give it up to McDonald's, because the curriculum is just so great with every little thing and every activity. Woo! All of it. It's all builds on top of each other and makes it a really fun experience for the learner.
Yeah.
So we're not going to give out all the secrets today, but we wanted to talk about delegation because you said it, Hailey. It's one of those harder skills to learn.
Yeah.
So what is the definition of delegation?
Well, Riley and listeners, let me tell you. The definition of delegation is to entrust the responsibility of a team member. And that could be, trusting them to complete a task that they've never done before, or something that they're still learning how to do. But, when we talk about delegation, the rule of thumb that we like to use is the 80-20 rule. So delegating a task to our new learner that they can complete to 80% all on their own.
Like taking out the trash.
Yeah, right? And it seems simple, but everybody has to start somewhere. Like, you change the trash for the first time.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know how to do it. So if Riley can delegate that task to me, I can complete that to 80% all by myself. He gets to step in and coach me that other 20%. And that bridging that gap might be something really quick that you get to just do one time, or it might be a process, like a 2-week process.
So now so I'm thinking in my head, there's a difference though between like asking somebody to do a task and delegating.
Oh yeah.
What is that difference?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, delegation, again, is just that entrusting the responsibility, but how we delegate is where it gets to be effective. So delegating and demanding are two totally different things, right? Riley, go change the trash right now, or whatever it is. There's the body language, the tone of voice, the way that we're asking him to do that, because that's what delegating is. We're asking to do it. It needs to be done, but I also need to be respected as a leader, and I want Riley to feel the responsibility of the task. That's what allows me to not worry about it until I need to follow up with Riley. So please and thank yous, your tone of voice, smiling, saying, Riley, for your shift today, you're responsible for XYZ. These are my expectations. And right, this is always our shortcoming is we don't set our expectations.
We give more of the second thing where it's like, hey, can you go change the trash quick? We might be nice.
Yeah.
Our body language, tone of voice might be like, hey, Riley, can you go change the trash real quick in the lobby? Sure, got you. I'll go take the trash out, right? But that's just one time, right? You're not saying, Riley, it's your responsibility to take out the trash when you see it getting full, and you're in charge of that for the shift.
Yep.
I think that's the thing. And so we don't ever actually get to delegate something. We feel like we're delegating because we're telling people to do stuff.
Right.
But we're not actually delegating because it's just we're giving them one task. Because the next time I ask somebody to take the trash out, it might be Hailey. It might be Nick. It might be Eric. Like, it's not always going to be Riley. But if, hey, Riley, you're here today, you're in charge of the trash.
Right. Your entire shift, after every peak, after every rush, or whatever that may be, setting the expectations so clearly that there's just no room for misinterpretation. That allows whoever the task is being delegated to, and then also the delegator, to have that comfort and that ease that the task is going to be completed in the way that I expect it.
To about 80%.
Correct, right? And I'm happy to jump in that other 20% and coach it. But if I don't set my expectations of how I want the lobby cleaned, and Riley has very different expectations on how he cleans the lobby, he might feel so proud. And when he comes to me and says, I did it, I cleaned the lobby the way that you asked me to and whatnot. And I'm like, no, you didn't. That's
I'm a sad Riley now.
Yeah, right. It's really discouraging to our learners, and they're not going to want to learn more. And we have to be able to take things off of our plates, especially as shift leaders or assistants, general managers. There's so many things that our team, our support people can't do that I have to do. So we really need to make sure that they're completing tasks that they can do.
People want to do well. We've mentioned that on this podcast quite a few times, that people want to succeed and people want to win.
Yeah.
So let's help them.
Right.
Instead of just the one task, or hey, you're helping. I always think of after a big rush or whatever, it's a good job, girl team, even if they kind of sucked.
Yeah, we still got to encourage them.
I know.
We do.
I know. But I think delegation is a much better way to your point you said earlier, like effective, right? Right. Like if I delegate kitchen times to the kitchen manager and we hit it, like that's awesome. Like you're responsible for the kitchen. Here's my expectations. I want this much speed, this much this much that. Let's see what we can do. And then you coach at the end of the shift. Hey, we were so close on those times, those targets, but next time if you did this, I bet you'd get those extra seconds that you needed. Yeah. And now all of a sudden they're learning all over again. So
it sounds to me like you would give your kitchen manager a little bit of developmental feedback. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, Hailey. We co-facilitate this class, like I said at the beginning of this episode, and it's always so much fun. In fact, we have so much fun that it's one of our ground rules.
Yes, it's mandatory.
It is mandatory. Whatever that looks like. Eric has said he doesn't know what fun is, or what fun is to some people.
Maybe we should have him to come to class. We'll show him.
We should. And we don't care. We just make people have fun.
Yeah.
At the expense of ourselves sometimes, but
for sure. Or each other.
Yeah. Awesome. So you mentioned developmental feedback, right? And that's another section within this class that we're talking about. And I also mentioned earlier about motivation, how delegation is a great tool for motivation. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Like how does that get somebody motivated? Delegating something to somebody.
Yeah, I want to share a story, and most people have heard it because it was just such a pivotal moment for me and for the general manager, and then I think for their shift leader as well. So, they had someone who just seemed to not care so much when they showed up anymore, right? They were still doing everything that they needed to do, but they weren't taking the extra step that they had weeks prior. And
the motivation kind of dropped.
Right, yeah. And they noticed that this team member was poorly motivated. So they said to me, hey, I'm not quite sure what to do here. But I know that I need to do more for them because they're very loyal. They're one of our hardest working people, and they're knowledgeable. All these lists of why they needed to help and
motivate this person.
They're such a fantastic leader for that and many other reasons. But anyways, so they say, what can we do? And we take a look at our internal verifications, and through that, we were able to, one, identify his behavioral style, which is really important when we want to talk about motivation and how we, treat people the way that they want to be treated.
Absolutely. Yep.
And with that, we found that he was a numbers guy through and through, loved all the numbers. So he already had done so many things in the restaurant, like become the OTP, done
Tech
training.
stuff.
Yeah. All that stuff. Again, loyal, knowledgeable, always going above and beyond.
Make sure we keep him.
Yeah. And with the new testing of the beverage launch, she said, let me put him in charge of that. I want to see what he can do. And I think that'll give him a reason to just have more than just running a shift. And I just follow-up conversations with her. She was so excited. One, as a general manager, she did not have to make sure all the training got done.
Right, because she delegated that to this shift leader.
She did. And again, pivotal moment because one, me seeing the connections being made in the restaurants, just going back to the basics with these skills.
Shift leadership, yep.
Right. Just they're so basic, but they're so tough when you're in the thick of it to utilize.
We've talked about tunnel vision so much on the podcast because that's what the fast food industry is. It's very like, okay, food in a bag, food in a bag, food in a bag. It's not just food in a bag.
Right.
It's people, it's emotion, it's motivation, it's leadership.
Yeah.
It's leadership. So
and motivating. That's really what it is, and that allows people to create an impact as a leader, whether that's a negative or a positive one, and it's your choice. And again, this leader is just such a strong leader because she tried herself and said, you know what? I don't know what to do, but I know I need to do more because I don't want to lose him and I want to make sure that he can enjoy coming to work. So she reached out. And that, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It really does.
A lot of vulnerability as a leader. And I think it's also a good characteristic to have in a leader.
It is.
So
that comes up often. I think every class we ask, they say vulnerability.
Well, thanks for sharing that story, Hales.
Of course.
I think that's a cool connection between, actually motivating a team member through delegation. And maybe we'll do some more of these little, behind the scenes of our LT curriculum. We'll see.
I'd love it.
Yeah. Thanks again, Hales, for coming. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for talking delegation with us today and how everything that we talk about during LT is a building block within a building block.
Yep.
It's like one of those Russian nesting dolls.
Yes. Yep. Is there more in this thing?
There's more. It just keeps coming out. That's leadership. Yep. So we're excited to continue talking about this kind of stuff. So stick around for a podcast for us, by us, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Listen, learn, lead. See ya.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.